Alright guys, how is everyone doing? Alright, all good today, yeah? Happy days, happy days. My name's Adam, this is Jem.
Hi.
So I'm the Regional South Manager, so I come from, well, meant to be the South, but basically Birmingham or down south of the UK. So my poor Tesla's got a lot of miles on it. And I deal with wholesalers, I deal with a lot of you guys installers, and also end users as well. And Jem?
So I look after technical support for the UK. So that's dealing with installers, with contractors, with partners, wholesalers, everybody basically. And yeah, I have a small team here, and we offer support by phone, by email. We have a help centre, which I'll go through some more information on that.
Just by a quick show of hands, who's heard of Zaptec and EV charging? Yeah, before Wednesday last week? Yeah. Yeah, cool.
Has anyone worked with our products before?
Yeah. Yes, cool, happy days.
Just one.
That's cool. All right. Hopefully that will be changing. But yeah, EV charging, I'll let Jem go into the start of it all.
Yeah, so we are Zaptec, and our mission is to change the world with cutting edge charging solutions. So before we jump in, just what we can hope to get out of today. How to choose the right Zaptec product. We don't have that many, so we're just going to be explaining the difference between them and the use case for them. We do both commercial and also domestic products. How to design a compliant installation, a little bit about our load management and phase balancing, avoiding common issues, connectivity, how to commission the charger. So I'll do at the end. I'll do a little demo of how to commission. It's pretty quick, but it's slightly different between the different products. And then how to look for faults, and then what resources we have available to you guys. So our support resources, but also our training online as well through the Zaptec Academy. Any questions before we go on?
Stu, you don't know the Zaptec Academy? Yeah. How'd you find the Academy?
Yeah, easy.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I can do. I'm not sparking. I did it in about an hour and 10 minutes. So for you guys, you just whiz through and you actually understand like the USBs a bit more as well.
Yeah.
As a manufacturer based out of Norway, we're the biggest AC charging company that most people in the EV industry haven't heard of. We've done the most installs across Europe, which is a nice little sort of statement to have. Production is Norway and also in Germany. This is where we're about sort of in the market. Alongside all the other products that we go with. Do you guys, as a show of hands, who does EV installs? Do you all do? Yeah, nice. But yeah, I suppose as well, from your customers, is it what they tell you what they want, or do you have much say in what goes into it?
Style comes down to it.
Nice.
Yeah, guys, I'm happy because of the style of it.
Yeah, he wants it because of the style.
Yeah, he likes the white look of it, and he wants a three-phase. So.
But I mean, yeah, for you guys, I suppose, yeah, your end customers are saying, we want this, this, and this, and this, because that's what they know, or that's what they've done their research and what they like. So I suppose it can be quite hard for you guys then to say, have you thought about this? But from this training, hopefully you will then come away and go, cool, think about a Zaptec or think about another product rather than just saying, charger, yeah, cool, sweet. Yeah. And as we know, the EV market is forever growing. I think there was a stat that came out a couple of weeks ago. There's 19 million driveways within the UK. Only 1 million of them at the moment have EV chargers on there. So 18 million driveways of growth, which is great for you guys as installers, great for us as manufacturers, and great for Phase as selling it all that to us as well. So yeah, real big opportunity for us to grow, and we can only see it going in one direction. So hopefully, yeah, we can all share a bit of the pie. And like Jem said, we are very simple as a company. We've got 3 chargers. So the Zaptec Pro, which is this one here, the Go 2 and the Go. There are 3 chargers. So the 2 first left is the Go charger, it's a home charger, and the Go 2 is a home charger, and the Pro is our commercial. And then look at the Sense bundle as well, which is talks about the load balancing between the chargers as well.
With our charger, with our kind of ecosystem, you have the Zaptec Cloud and you have our app as well. And also our chargers are compatible with like third-party back office solutions. So kind of billing platforms, pretty much any back office out there will work with our chargers. So if a customer has a preference, great, they can use that most likely. We work with a couple that we have integrations with that we know work well. So if you ever need a recommendation, we can also provide that too. I think what makes our platform quite unique is the cloud. So all of our chargers are smart. They talk to the cloud, including our Sense, our load balancing. So that's a wireless load balancing. It uses CTs, but it can talk to an installation of multiple chargers. So you can have one set of CTs that can manage an installation of, I don't know, 1,000 chargers if you wanted. So it's not a wired CT to the charger solution, but I'll go into a bit more of like what that looks like. The cloud is what does especially the really smart stuff with the Zaptec Pro, so the phase balancing that we have, which is unique to the Pro, but everything is managed through the cloud. Things like the back office, the OCPP for billing, user authentication. We have an API as well, which is open, which basically just means if you want to integrate with our chargers, for example, a solar panel inverter manufacturer wants to integrate with our chargers, they could write an API integration in order to integrate. Anyone can do that. There's a lot of nerds out there who like their smart home stuff, and they've used our API to create integration so it kind of works with their smart home. So pretty endless possibilities there. And then you've got the Zaptec app as well, which is just the kind of user app. So that's what your end user is going to be using to manage their charger.
Someone in the previous from the Phase team actually asked about the app, and it's our own app. It's not, we don't use send it out to anyone else, because I think they were talking to a competitor, and their app always had to go through a third party, whereas ours it's our own. So yeah, it's nice and easy, straightforward for you guys.
Has anyone had to deal with OCPP here at all? That side of things? No. Cool. Okay.
If you also have got any questions at any point, I've just put your hand up and just shout about or ask.
Cool. Comms. So the three method of comms that our chargers support: Wi-Fi, 4G, and PLC. You might have some experience with PLC, power line communications. Anyone? No? Okay. Cool. So the Sense supports Wi-Fi. It also has a little Ethernet port in it as well, so it can be hardwired. The Go and the Go 2 support Wi-Fi and 4G, and that's roaming 4G. So generally the Go 2 will work pretty much anywhere you put it. It's got quite good 4G. The Go can be a bit more hit and miss on the 4G side, so we recommend Wi-Fi, but it's there as a fallback. And then the Pro uses PLC, which is power line communications. So that basically just sends the Ethernet signal from a router through the electrical cabling to the charger. So the charger's got a PLC receiver in it, the Pro, and it receives the data through the electrical circuit. And these are kind of modules that we sell separately. They're DIN rail mounted. So the benefit,
it's like a power line adapter for you.
It exactly is a power line adapter. It's a bit more of an industrial one because the power line adapters, the kind of consumer ones, can be quite terrible. Yeah, you said it. These ones, as long as they're installed like according to guidance, they work really reliably. It's an encrypted, hardwired connection. The benefit being, if you have an installation with, hundreds of Zaptec Pros, you're not running a separate Ethernet to every charger. This will serve an entire circuit of chargers without any additional cabling. I'll go into more on what that looks like, but also the academy training. If you do that, that gets a bit more into the nitty gritty of PLC and how to install it.
Bit into the durability and protection. Won't get into the IP54s and what it all means and stuff, but it basically just says that whether it's cold, rainy, hot, our chargers are going to work. It's all down to the obviously we as I said, we work in like Norway where it's always snowing, it's freezing cold, and our chargers are fine there as well. What it actually means is that the casing of the charger isn't, but everything internal is IP rated, and that's what is the most important part of the charger, really.
Yeah, so it's a vented design, which basically means water condensation can actually get into that outer casing, but it can drain out again, it can dry out without affecting the innards. Some other charge manufacturers, they kind of make the entire outer casing IP rated, and then if water does get in, it never gets out again, and you've kind of ruined the charger. So yeah, this tends to work pretty well. We don't really see too many issues with water ingress. Obviously the installation is important and how to install it, which we'll go into a little bit of how to do that. We're also fully compliant with the latest EU regs on cybersecurity as well. on all of our chargers. So they all have over-the-air firmware updates when available. So any charger out in the field can receive the updates with the latest security.
Just onto before we get into the nitty-gritty of each charger, what's important for you guys when installing the charger? What do you care about? What's prime importance?
How easy it is.
So is that when you say easy, do you mean like speed of install? Do you mean just like simplicity?
Setting it up and everything,
Commissioning it, testing it.
Space to swing your cables, especially if you've got to run SW up to it.
Yeah, okay. Space, sweet. Yes. Anything else? No? Yeah.
User friendly.
User friendly, yeah, sweet, cool. Okay, amazing. Again, that's what we like to understand. Classic Norwegian, we like to do a nice little cool video in terms of designing and showing our chargers. I'm in there somewhere. I'm not. I know, again, that some of you guys have already handled our chargers, but I'll pass around the Go charger, just so you guys, who haven't seen it, can actually see what it's like. But it's been really designed with your guys' thought processes in mind and for you to work with. So in terms of simplicity, right at the top left, there's a spirit level built in. No need to balance the spirit level on top of the charger. If it's not properly shaped, it's going to fall off. You're not actually having to go into anything at all within the charger, apart from obviously plugging your wires in through is it the Phoenix one, isn't it? That's what it's called, which is nice and easy, nice and straightforward. Something very, very simple. Once you pull these out, this is probably not going to work. There's a little thing up there, a little latch you can put your protector on top. It sounds so simple, but it's just like, rather than putting it on the floor, or it's going to go walkabouts, all that kind of stuff, it just makes it a little bit more convenient for you guys to work with. So that's the cup holder at the top right. 3 points of entry at the top, at the bottom, at the back as well, in the middle. So depending on when your customers are going to go, most customers don't want any cabling come through. They like it all nice and flush on the wall. But even if they did come through the top, there's enough space through the side to get in and through the bottom to get in as well.
The recommendation usually is use one of the bottom two ones, so you don't get water ingress. If you use the top one, it just obviously needs to be really well sealed.
If you did want to have a look around it, you're more welcome to. You can just pass around if you want, just to show what the charger looks like. And like I said, there's space there to get in, to wire it around. And as I said, I think it was ease of install. That video that we showed you can put it on the wall within 3.5 minutes from getting the cable from the distribution board to where the charger is going to go. 3.5 minutes to actually put it on the wall because it's 4 screws.
Yeah.
Go on, Jim.
A little bit about load balancing. So the Zaptec Go, you can have up to 3 chargers on a installation. That's on a single kind of portal or app installation that you do. That just means that those 3 chargers can be installed on the same supply, and the system can load balance between the chargers. So let's say you've got a customer, they've got 2 EVs and they want 2 chargers. They might be considering a dual socket. They can have 2 of these on the wall. They can have both cars plugged in, and it can split the given amperage between the 2 cars. If one car unplugs, the other charger gets the full available current. So yeah, great for kind of 2-car or multi-car households. Or if you've got kind of smaller commercial clients, like a small business, they might want a few chargers. This can also be a really good option. These I'll get into a little bit, but they are kind of more traditional, like EV charging. They all need their own circuits, so you do need separate RCD protection for each charger.
Do they have pen fault in them?
The Go does have pen fault. The Go 2 does not. I'll get a little bit more into why it doesn't. But yeah, that one you're seeing now does.
It's that question that we always get, don't worry.
That's a big thing.
On there, does it have also priority which cars most charged, or is it not just who comes first, and when that's fully 100%, then moves on to the next?
Yeah, so with AC charging, it's...
Are they ruining your presentation?
You love the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, AC charging is not very good at kind of talking to the car and knowing what it's doing. It is coming with like plug and charge and with the vehicle to grid communications tech that we have in these chargers. There will be more of that in future, but no, right now it's not aware of like how much charge is in the car. I think you
Just
need
when power draw stops from one, it jumps to the next.
exactly. The car will stop drawing power, and then the charger will say, "Okay, there's no power being drawn." That gets allocated then to the other charger.
Like I said, yeah, pen fault is in that one, but we'll go into reasons why it's not in the go-to later on. But again, when people ask, and I was saying this to Kenny and the team earlier on, is understanding what the customer wants, right? They're going to want, sometimes they want the quickest and simplest of installs, and they don't care about anything else. So we would say, go for the go. If they're thinking about future-proofing long term, the 5, 6, 10 years down the line, then that's where we would say, go for the go-to because of the product that's in that charger as well. And we'll explain about that pen fault as well afterwards.
You've got an app to schedule and control charging. You've got a few kind of features in there like authentication, so the user can, give their family permission to charge. You've also got the ability with the button on the left there to lock and unlock the cable to the charger, so you can leave it tethered to the charger if you want. It gives you the best of both worlds. If you've got customers saying, I want a tethered charger, drawback of that is once the cable goes, you're replacing the whole charger, and cables don't last forever. With ours, you just unlock the cable, replace the cable, the bit that's gone wrong, and then your charger remains on the wall. So yeah, you can either unlock it or lock it yourself. And then it's a pretty standard installation. You do need an RCD, and it's a single phase charger, this one.
What we've not commented on there yet, though, is that the third bullet point is a 5-year guarantee. So for you guys, it's really good to know. Most EV chargers are 2 to 3 years with an optional pay extra for a couple of more years. Warranties are there within the UK. We're governed by EU regulations, which are a lot higher. So we got the guarantee, 5 years. So we know our chargers are good. That's why we were able to offer it. And that's why Jem's here at our support day, not answering phone calls going, charger's not working, because we trust that our chargers will always work.
We do have someone answering the phones too. It's okay.
We got
But yeah, I mean, if they did go wrong a lot, we wouldn't be able to afford to have a 5-year guarantee.
Yeah.
So
we've actually got a live website which we can send to you guys as well if you wanted to, which is our status, which shows it's 99.97 uptime, and that's live, that's current data, that's always there. It's been refreshed every so often, so it fluctuates, but 99.97 our chargers would always be working.
yeah, that's our kind of cloud connectivity. But with the Go and the Go-To, you don't have to use them with our cloud. If you've got a customer who's just like, I want a basic charger, I don't want it online, they can do that if they want, but it's just better when you have app control. Before we move on to Go-To, is there any...
All set up on these, sorry to interrupt there, all set up on these does not require at any point in time it being going online.
So,
it's an off-grid place.
if you look closely at the charger, you'll see there's a little rotary sort of thing in there that you can turn, and there's different positions on it. It explains them in the manual, but each one's for a different current setting. So you can turn it to position 7, which is 32 amps, and that means then if it's in position 7, you don't need to use the app at all. You just turn it to position 7, plug it in, and then you can charge.
Initial setup for that, do you need it? Because I know some things like ones you hate.
This is
they
like...
need that first before they'll actually even turn on the
Most of
anything.
them have to download a firmware update or something.
So this overrides the app setup.
So as soon as you twist that, it's...
As soon as you twist it, it's like I'm a dumb charger.
Okay,
It's
that's
literally
fine.
just full whack and that's it.
There's different settings, so you've got rotary positions from like 1 to 7. I can't remember exactly which each one it is, it's in the manual, but you can go anything from like 6 amps up to 32 amps in kind of increments. Our recommendation is, for the majority of people, they're going to want some kind of smart control. Leave this as it is, don't touch it for those people. You want to then commission it in the app. You then dynamically set the current rating that it's going to use. So generally leave that alone.
It's more of an unfortunate place that tends to have some sort of lead in their wall and doesn't go through 2 foot of the Wi-Fi signal.
Perhaps,
At least you get them up and fired first, then work on the Wi-Fi after small wires.
So can you connect the wireless CT to it without using any sort of internet?
No. So all of our load balancing is done via the cloud.
So you can set that to be a 32 amp charger, stick it on a wall and let it go with no load balancing.
You could, yeah.
That's mental.
Yeah.
that's not that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's why the option's there, right? You could set it, you know, if you're worried about that, then set it to 16 or 20 amps or something. But, you know,
It's
if you,
just the people that don't know that would be doing that, and then
yeah,
No,
But that's why we only work with approved installers as well, right? Like,
yeah, hopefully as an installer, you'll kind of, I mean, no, you don't always know the incoming supply, but, yeah,
I'm running massively here. So you say works load balancing works by cloud.
yes.
So if your internet goes down, what happens to the load balancing?
Your charger gets throttled to 6 amps.
Right, I did assume it might be.
Yeah.
still works though. But yeah,
It will still
just
work,
reduced.
you're just not getting very much current.
You must stick the light on.
Yeah.
Okay, is that
Any
good?
questions on the go? That's like a basic entry level charger. No, cool. Happy
You
days.
say that did have the pen fault.
It has, yeah.
That's got the pen fault, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, go to.
Which is. Doesn't it look good? I'm slightly biased. Yeah. So again, like the Go, very, very simply to install on the wall. Then you've got 4 screws in each corner. Built in the same with a spirit level, touch safe. Still with the Phoenix contact as well. But you will notice there's a few more inputs, as it's 1 and 3 phase as well, which is really cool. And then what you've probably seen in there as well is a couple of things: mid certified, 1 and 3 phase switching, and the thermal design. Have you guys heard of the mid metering, mid certified? No? Yeah, some people have, which is great. Basically, it just means that businesses will be able to see how much you're charging and then do like a reimbursement, and it'll be very, very, very accurate. From 2028, the mid certified is going to be non-negotiable. It's got to be in the chargers. We are already there, and our price is already there. Anyone else who has to put their mid certified into the charger, their price is then going to go up, and more than likely ours will probably come down a little bit. But it's a cool device, and even for a home user, they can actually see what they're getting down, and it's super, super accurate to each decimal point, right?
If you happen to have a 3-phase installation, you can wire it 3-phase, but you can dynamically switch between 1 and 3-phase in the app. That's really useful for solar. So if somebody does have solar and they have 3-phase, with our Sense device, with an upcoming software update, it's not out yet, but the Sense will automatically be able to switch between 1 and 3-phase depending on whether there's solar output or not, without any additional equipment needed. So yeah, that's pretty useful. But even without 3-phase, with a single phase supply, when that update comes, the Sense will be able to look at export as well as import and be able to adjust charging dynamically based on that in the software, which is pretty neat.
A gem on that, sorry. I think the most important thing is all car chargers going forward from 28 will have to have that mid-meter.
Yeah, absolutely. And we already see it in kind of commercial charging where like it's a needed thing. The Pro has it. It has always had it. But yeah, we'll start to see it with kind of, especially with vehicle to grid, where people are going to need to get paid for the energy they're putting into the grid. It needs to be accurate. So it's pretty important for that. The load balancing principles of like 3 on an installation or up to 3 on an installation is the same with Go2 as with Go. So for multi-car use. And then slight difference, you do need pen protection. This is not how it has to, it's just an illustration. If you've got 3 chargers, you need 1 pen protection unit for the installation. It's not per charger, but just RCD protection, pen protection. So the kind of Garrow units that have the built-in RCBO will do the job. Kind of anything that has the right protection will work. And then this just illustrates if you've got a multi installation on 3-phase, you would rotate the phase wiring so they're balanced.
Well, hello. This is the Zaptec Go 2, a brand new EV charger. The marketing department rented this cabin to trick you into believing the chargers are made here. They're not. They're made here and here. That's in Germany. Mega. The Zaptec Go 2 is vehicle to grid ready. But what does that mean? It means that in time it will transform your car into an energy power bank. It can power your house. That's neat. It can power your kids' football practice. It can even act as a buffer for the entire grid, storing extra renewable energy and helping smooth out peak loads. Zaptec Go 2 seamlessly switches between single-phase and 3-phase charging to maximize solar power. When solar is high, it charges faster with 3-phase. And when it's low, 1 phase to keep going. This is Kurt. He's the boss. Hey Kurt.
Zaptec Go 2 is MID certified with a MID certified display. And it's developed in-house.
Which means accurate billing for company cars. Central Europe, we are looking at you. What I'm trying to say is that the Zaptec Go 2 has everything you need today. But also in 5 and 10 years when everything has changed. Think about it! That's redefining EV charging! But don't take my word for it. Listen to Kurt.
Yes, it's really good.
You can tell we like a cheesy market, really, don't you? But yeah, that explains sort of the go-to. We'll jump into vehicle to grid in a bit, but just back to the pen fault. Like I said, even though it needs to be upstream, because we're governed by EU regulations, they're a lot further ahead of the curve, and they're going to be stating that, I think again from 2028 as well, that all pen fault has to be upstream of the device.
We don't know it yet, but we're expecting it. So I'll start with vehicle to grid. But has anyone had any interest from customers or yourselves in vehicle to grid? No? Not yet. Okay. Cool. We get quite a lot of questions about it, and a surprising amount of end users ask questions about it, which was quite surprising to me because I kind of thought it was quite niche. But the Go2, so the one you see there, is vehicle to grid ready, which means it's got the hardware, the communication standards in it for bidirectional charging. It also means that when the vehicles are all on the market and communicating with those standards, the charger will communicate with the vehicles. So this is what's going to allow the installation of the charger to be aware of the state of charge, for example, in the car. A little bit like DC rapid charging does. That's coming with this communication standard. So this is quite simplistic. We all know how a car charges.
Hopefully.
That's when you wired it up, that's right.
We reversed the animation. It goes the other way. So yes, obviously the car can be used as a power bank to power your home and then subsequently the grid. Now, you say you haven't had a lot of questions around this, which is good, I guess. But yeah, we get a lot of questions from both installers and end users around this. So I think the questions will start coming. And most of the questions are from very eager users kind of going, I want to use my car as a power bank right now. And the answer at the moment is you can't. It is coming. Our charger is future-proof in that if you buy this charger, nothing else will be needed within the charger. It can stay on the wall. It will be ready to support it. But in terms of what is required for it to work, there's a lot of moving parts. Obviously, you need the charger. You've got to have the car with the right communication standard. The car's software has to be tested and up to date and communicating properly. Then the energy providers need a tariff that supports vehicle to grid. And then obviously you've got the regulators as well. So the export regulations need to be updated. Because right now you can't use an AC charger for bidirectional charging. The regulation doesn't exist yet for it. So that's being kind of worked on at the moment. We expect that to be sort of out within the next few months. Similar to the kind of G99, G98 solar export regulations. So at the moment, what the regulation says is that if you want to certify a charger like that for vehicle to grid, you have to certify it along with the vehicle. And so they have to be certified as like a single unit, which doesn't make any sense. So that will change. We also expect there'll be some regulations around islanding. So for example, if you have this charger plugged in and you have a power cut, you then need to be isolated from the grid. If you're trying to export energy into a grid that's not live, that could be quite dangerous. So it's likely there'll be an extra box that will be needed. So if you did get asked the question by a customer, will this work for vehicle to grid today? No, but it's the right charger to buy. There may be an extra box that's needed. We don't know what that's going to look like yet. So I guess the best advice is install it like any other charger, but leave enough space around the installation for a box later on, an extra consumer unit.
I don't know if you've looked in those, whether you wired it back into what I call the backup board of the solar installation where it comes off the actual hybrid versus go into island mode. Would that negate the idea of a separate box from it?
It might. I don't know if it would be allowed though at the moment. I'm not sure.
Kept only that separate board. So then you can power it back from your vehicle there for your central circuits.
Yeah, I mean, in theory that makes sense. I'm just not sure whether it would be permitted, which is what we're waiting for. So what we're expecting is there will be something else on the market, some consumer units on the market which will do exactly what we need them to do. For context, Octopus use the Pro for they do a vehicle to grid bundle where you get a car and a Pro and it's all leased. They have put in an anti-islanding device for them, but it's like $2,000 or something. We expect that when it's sort of consumer ready, they'll be a lot cheaper.
And if you do get questions on vehicle to grid from your customers, reach out to Kenny, reach out to the team here. We can always speak to them on your behalf and make sure that they come back to you guys anyway.
No.
Basically, yeah.
It's quite a difficult question to answer without getting into like technical detail. So yeah, you have to kind of keep it quite light. But this also does touch on why this doesn't have pen fault as well, and that is because we expect to do with bidirectional charging. We expect the regulations to say that it needs to be outside of the charger, and for example, with vehicle to home, probably an earth rod is going to be needed anyway because you'd be disconnected from the grid. So we don't. It's a minefield at the moment. Hence the reason why it's been left out.
Disconnect the earth on solar. As long as it's a TNS system, you use main earth. But if it's only TNCS, you can't.
But if the grid is connected though, if there's a power cut, then you haven't got.
Yeah, but the earth is just a separate entity, it's not a powered entity, is it? Just cuts live neutral.
Right. Oh, yeah. With the anti-islanding. Yeah. So we'll see what transpires with the regs on this.
So like with all the other go as well, you still got the phase switching, support solar integration, and still the 5-year guarantee as well, and all the app as well. So it's all there. Just to touch on that point, if you do get customers asking and you're not unsure, feel free to reach out to us and ask us direct. Like you can also just bypass phase, just come straight to us. I'll give you my business card afterwards, and you just send me an email and say, need support with this. Can we speak to your customers? And also happy to on like commercial units and bigger projects. We can come with you to sites and do surveys with you if that's what you guys would like and see is beneficial. So yeah, happy to work with you guys. It's not just a one-way street. So yeah. Zaptec Pro, which is this bad boy.
Just sorry, the other one, is that like 22 kilowatt output then on the 3-phase?
Yeah. Up to 22 kilowatt. Yeah, depending obviously on the vehicle.
So yeah, Zaptec Pro is our 22 commercial unit. Obviously the stand doesn't come with it when you purchase the charger. It's just the just the chargers. But what's cool about this one is you can go from 1 charger up to 1,000 charger on a single line.
1,000 plus. There's no limit.
There's
you
no
can have
limit,
as many as you like.
Yeah, which is really cool.
I don't know why they put 1,000 plus.
Yeah. Fully compliant with mid certified as well. So that's in there on the left hand side.
So it's not vehicles grid ready in the same way that the Go 2 is, but it does have the communications hardware, which is the ISO 15118 hardware, which will allow it to do plug and charge. So that's, for example, if you're using a back office, like a CPO back office, a customer will be able to plug into the charger, not have to use the app or scan a QR code to pay. It will recognise their car and bill them automatically once the technology is in all the vehicles and they have their software up to date. But that is what's coming.
What you're probably thinking is that Zaptec's too far ahead. We're there and everyone's trying to catch up to us, which is frustratingly true.
And this really is kind of what sets the Zaptec Pro apart. So our phase balancing technology. So it's essentially using the power that you have on a 3-phase supply a lot more efficiently. You're spreading the load across the 3 phases. So you're able to use kind of what there is slightly better, which means more kilowatt hours, which means more money for kind of CPOs. It also means you can have a limited supply and you can install Zaptec Pro on that limited supply. There's no limit to the amount of chargers you could put on that supply. Obviously, you're governed by kind of what you've got, but it will spread the load between the chargers. It doesn't matter where the cars are plugged in. I'll talk a bit more about how that works.
Have you guys heard of phase balancing? Yeah, know what it is?
Yeah.
Cool. Amazing.
So this shows a kind of traditional solution where you've got the chargers wired, rotated across the phases. So we've got 2 cars plugged in here on chargers that are both on L3. There's a third. And then we've saturated L3. We have lots of power available on the other 2 phases, but these cars can't make use of it unless you move the cars to a different charger. So the way Pro is wired on 3-phase is that every charger is wired the same way. You don't do that kind of manual rotating of the wiring between chargers. L1 to L1, L2 to L2, and so on. Which means that wherever you plug that car in, it's able to make use of all 3 phases. If lots of cars plug in and the system determines that it's more efficient to charge single phase, it can just switch those cars to single phase charging. And it's able to take the power from any of the 3 phases and still charge those cars single phase, which is quite a feat when you kind of look at how it works in the charger, and I've got some slides on that. It's quite interesting, at least it is for me. And we've unplugged the car, and those 2 cars have been switched now back to 3-phase. So a user might see, if they're plugged into a Pro system, that the current is fluctuating. They might be getting 7 kilowatts, then they might be getting 11 kilowatts, then maybe 5, just depending on what the usage is.
And that's all done within the charger.
Yeah.
Which is like really cool that the charger can determine which ways is the best way for the car to get the optimal amount of the charge.
I imagine you've got to have a CT wired in there somewhere, do you? Or
You actually don't have to.
Units,
So
they
it-
talk to each other.
Yeah, so the units do talk to each other, but all through our cloud. So this is one kind of thing to mention with the Pro, is they do need to be connected to the cloud in order to work. They will still charge without a connection, but they're going to be throttled right down. And I've got a demo in
So
a second.
the communication of what each one's using to each other when they're there, you just pair them up between.
It's
Does it
all
have
done.
like an in-house communication, or is it only cloud?
All done via our cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of where all the algorithms for this stuff live. But in terms of how it works, you've got a bunch of relays at the top of the charger, and they will open and close, and each relay is connected to a different pin at the socket. And you'll notice you have one L1, and then you have two L2s and two L3s. And that's because you've got your L1 connected to your L1 pin that goes out to the car. You've then got an L2 also connected to that L1 pin. So that means it's able to take power from phase 2, but put it out through the L1 pin to the car. And then the same again, you've got an L3 to the L1 pin as well. That just means a car can charge single phase from any phase on the supply. And then you've got relays connected to the correct phase on the charger as well, on the socket. And that's for 3-phase charging.
Can you... Sorry, carry on.
No, go on.
Looks like you're going to answer it there anyway.
Am I? Okay.
What was the question anyway? I'm intrigued.
Can you manually switch it so when you're testing the charger, you can make sure that all of the relays are working through the plug socket? Or so can you do it through the app or something so that you know it's going to be working when you test it? Or is it something that you just put there and just go, it'll be all right, and walk off?
So you can test it. I mean, the charger always does a self-test whenever it starts to charge and turns on. We also, in support, we also have the ability to do like a grid test, so we can look at all the voltages coming in on the different phases. But yeah, the relays, if they're not working, the charger will throw up a warning. It won't work if there's a problem. I would, if you want to have a play around with our phase balancing, I recommend scanning that QR code. It'll take you to this website here, which is just a demo where you can add chargers, you can add circuits to it, and it shows exactly how our algorithm works. So this is the actual algorithm that we use in our cloud. So yeah, I recommend doing that. If you ever wanted to show it off to a customer or you've got them asking questions, this can really help.
I would always, like Jim said, recommend to bookmark this, keep this safe, because if you are doing these kind of projects, it will be really, really helpful to understand and explain it to the end customers.
Next slide, please.
There you go.
There we go.
I'm going home now.
So yeah, feel free to come and have a closer look at the charger, but you've got built-in overcurrent protection, 40 amp MCB. You've got a Type B RCD as well. And reinforced insulation between phases and protective earth. So this just means you don't necessarily need an RCD upstream of the chargers, as long as you're using the right cabling. In terms of typical installation, you've got a few options. You can use flat cable. You don't have to use flat cable, but it's a really neat way of doing an installation for like an indoor car park, for example. And the chargers can be wired in series on a single circuit. So you'd have your fuse, you can have up to 63 amp MCB for that circuit. And then the chargers are daisy chained. You can't daisy chain them through the charger themselves. They do have to be junctioned. So you might run a 16mm core cable, 5-core cable on a 63 amp MCB, and then tee off down to each charger with a 6mm. The charger can take up to 10mm termination. The idea is that it's modular, so you don't really see it there, but the chargers are actually screwed onto a back plate. The back plate is where you take... Brilliant, look at that. That's a back plate. So the back plate is installed separately. You wire up the back plate. You don't have to install a charger on that back plate, so you can prepare the installation by installing all the back plates. If they haven't got the budget for chargers, you can just get all the infrastructure in and then add chargers later on as and when.
So then that will just come afterwards, and then slide that on top of the back plate.
Yeah, the charger just literally plugs onto the back plate and then you bolt it in.
So we've done a couple of things like underground car parks where they want 20 chargers in one go and then want another 10 at a later date. You can say, well, put all the back plates in, and then at a later date you can go charge a day's rate and go, boop, there's chargers on top, the casings on top. Really straightforward.
Yeah, it's 5 minutes to put a charger onto a back plate.
And we do also provide a back plate cover for the charger. So let's say you had that on there for a year and a half or 6 months, protect it, go back on, and then just take the cover off and put the new charger case on top.
Someone went nuts with the diagrams here, but I quite like it as an illustration.
Has anyone done like multiple charger installs, like 5 and above, 6 and above? Yeah. Five, yeah.
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 So 5, yeah, you could kind of get away with each charger wired individually. When you get kind of high in the numbers, it gets expensive and cumbersome. There is no limit to the amount of chargers you could have on that 63 amp circuit.
You said a bit, the only thing I got with that is you say it defaults to 6 amp. If you've got enough on there, you're going to be blowing the 63 anyway at 6 amp.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Which is exactly why every charger needs to be set up in our portal, in our cloud. Because our cloud knows then what size the circuit is. It knows what size the installation is and the main fuse. I'll show you how our portal does that, or just how it looks.
Yeah, but that's, you say defaults to when it cuts off from there. So if you've got enough of them on there, you're going to be default to 6.
So it does, the Pro's a little bit different. The Go and Go 2 will default to 6.
Yeah.
The Pro the Pro might even charge at more than 6 if the capacity on the installation allows. But yeah, if there's a lot of like 1,000 chargers, then it may drop below. It may just deactivate that charge completely. Yeah. The key point is that it's always going to be safe. It's not going to use power that's not available.
Yeah, it's more so I can describe if they do have an internet outage in a business that you're not.
There's no chance of a blown fuse.
No charging whatsoever.
There is 0 chance of a blown fuse. As long as the numbers are put in, correctly,
Yes,
obviously.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, just on this one though, like for you guys, like the cost savings for that is astronomical, right? Like if you're having to wire every single charger back to the fuse board and everything else, that's time-wise, that's cost for cables for you guys. That's an
RCD for every charger.
It's ridiculous, right? When we designed our chargers, we've really thought of you guys in mind in terms of the installers.
So how an installation looks, this uses a flat cable solution. We don't see this that often in the UK. You see a lot of them in Europe and they're really neat.
Tap off whatever you want.
Exactly. These things up here just literally screw into the cable. It's kind of crazy.
Vampire in.
Yeah. And in a more traditional solution with junction boxes, we have columns.
You can also sort of wiring into the columns.
Yeah, so the columns, there's different columns we have available. We do have a version that have a power rail inside the column. So you can run in your circuit into the column. You can tee off in that power rail up to 2 chargers on the dual post. And then you've just got your...
loop in, loop out like a lamppost?
You're just looping in and out, yeah. So then your circuit just runs off to the next column. So no junction boxes in sight. And then we discussed the back plate and the back plate.
And would these multiple posts have to be on the 63 amp up front?
Yes, up to a 63 amp.
Yeah, so obviously maximum there. So if you had more than you wanted on there, is there enough space to put essentially, I like lamppost little fuse boards in there so you could actually lower what goes? Because it's obviously more the power into each unit you're worried about on overloaded short.
So each unit is, the back plates are rated for up to 63 amps.
Yeah. I mean, in the posts, you say you can loop in, loop out.
Yeah.
There. Is there enough space to put anything?
Probably not.
No. Okay.
If you're running like 16mm cable in, it's quite tight in the post. Like I mentioned, in terms of wiring, each charger is wired the same way, so you don't rotate the phases at the charger. And they can either be wired 3-phase or single phase. The Pro, we tend to recommend 3-phase wiring, even if you've got a 3-phase supply, but the customer actually only needs 7 kilowatts on each charger, we would still recommend wiring them with 3-phase cable, because that phase balancing relies on all 3 phases, on being able to take power from any phase and deliver it out to the car through phase 1. If you've wired them 3-phase, even if you only want 7 kilowatts, you only want single phase charging, you're going to get really good use of the available power instead of just relying on whatever phase they're connected to. So any question? Yeah.
Can you run it on a 2-phase system?
No.
It has to be all 3, has to be available.
It's 3 or 1.
Yeah.
You can choose. So if you're wiring it single phase, you can sort of in the system tell it which phase it's wired to. So you could wire all chargers on L2, for example. Like I discussed with wiring, don't do that.
But that top one you say you can do if they're the post mounted, you can do it in the bottom of the post.
You can do it in the post. The key is you don't want to put 63 amps through each backplate. They are rated for that, but you're going to end up, overheating terminals if you do that.
Cook, isn't it?
It's going to cook, yeah.
But also, there's less wiring on the first one, going across and just teeing down rather than going down, up, down, up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's simple.
And then, like I mentioned, same connection on all chargers. When you test it, don't stick stuff into the socket on the back plate. Test at the terminal, the screws themselves. And then I briefly discussed the power line communications. That's it up close. So the way you wire this for, I guess, best performance is you want to wire each PLC directly onto the circuit that's serving the chargers. You don't need to wire them 3-phase, you just wire L1, neutral and protective earth. But you want it on the downstream side of the MCB that's serving the chargers. So let's say you've got your 63 amp MCB, you would then run a single phase spur off that, maybe put in a small MCB, like a 2 amp or something for the PLC. And then it's able to communicate. What you don't want to do is install these kind of really far upstream of the charging circuit, because then you're going to have like noise from the grid and other circuits that could bring them offline. So as long as they're installed like that, they are really reliable. They do work well.
Can you not loop them in straight in the board right next door to the spare way of the DIN way? And it just comes straight off of the MCB and into it?
Yeah. Oh, what do you mean straight off the charging MCB,
Yeah.
off the 63 amp into the PLC?
Yeah, because obviously you can load a set, it's not going to take enough current for the cable.
No,
so
it's
that's
not.
16 milliamp,
You can do that. I've seen them installed like that, but we would recommend putting a small MCB just before the PLC. Even if it's just for like troubleshooting purposes, it means you can isolate the PLC on its own without having to isolate, 10 chargers at the same time. But yeah, you can. There's nothing to stop you installing it that way either. Recommendation again is to put the PLC at the center of the chargers, if you can. I'll be honest, in reality, this is the way we see them installed most of the time. They're at the distribution board, and it works fine. So I'm going to slightly go against this. It works fine for the most part, as long as your circuit is not really long. So if you wire it this way, you probably don't want more than about 50, 60 meters of cable to the last charger. If you put your PLC in the center of the circuit, you can have about a 90 meter span of cable. So that is our recommendation for best performance. But in reality, it's often whatever is practical.
And what if you're going above the 90 metres?
Then
more.
Don't use PLC probably. Yeah, you can use more PLCs. You could put them along the circuit. It's worth looking at kind of cost effectiveness of whether maybe it's better to put in like Wi-Fi access points instead. If you've got we see a lot of like really big installations in kind of big underground car parks, and often it's easier just to dot some access points around the car park. The key sort of rule with PLC is that you want one per circuit. So as long as you've got one per circuit, they work pretty well. Connectivity methods. So we've obviously got our own portal and our own cloud. We have OCPP, which is your kind of standard back office. Lots of them out there, like Monitor, that sort of thing. OCPP Cloud uses our own cloud, but it can still connect to the OCPP platform. So what that means is that you've got the billing and the user authentication through Monitor, for example, but our phase and load balancing still happens in our cloud. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. If you go for the OCPP direct to the charger, then the back office provider is communicating directly with that charger. Our cloud is not involved. Some people really want that because they don't want it to be reliant on our cloud, but obviously with that you'll lose some of the benefits of the load and phase balancing, or all of the benefits that we have. And the OCPP provider would have to provide that themselves. And then we have our API integration as well. Any questions before we go on to Sense? Cool. So, I assume everyone's familiar with kind of load balancing, CTs. Yeah. Probably don't need to explain this too much then. We're obviously just protecting the main fuse for when the available power is reduced and the power consumption in the house has gone up. So we have various bundles with the Sense. It comes with an energy meter, there's a little 5-volt power supply and the CTs, and then a cable to connect it all up. We have 2 3-phase variants. That one goes up to 150 amp, and then we got one with some bigger CTs on it. But you can, if you've got like a really big installation, then you could always use separate CTs. You can use your own. And then the more popular one, which is the single phase one for your domestic, it's a smaller energy meter, single phase meter, same power supply, and one CT. So yeah, three main bundles, just scaled for the supply. We've got some connection diagrams for the meters and everything. The first one can be tricky, but once you've installed one, it's pretty straightforward. And then in terms of installing the Sense, it's just done in our app. So once you've wired everything up, you just go into the app, connect everything via Bluetooth. And the Sense is simply just going to report the consumption up to the cloud, which will then talk to the charger accordingly to limit charging if needed.
Just on Jim's point there as well, that he said before, when you are doing your first install, we will walk you through it. We'll help you out the whole time, whether it's with myself or Jem on support, just to make sure that you're fully comfortable in the first couple. We'll always be there to help you out. Again, I know other competitors don't offer that support, but we actually do, and we back it up. So just to make sure that you're confident and comfortable, and then going forward, if you ever do need us, just pick up the phone and help out. But yeah, nice little comparison chart.
Yeah, we can send this presentation afterwards as well, so you've got it for reference. So in terms of tools, we have our portal. This is where you install Zaptec Pro. It's also our kind of dashboard, so you have an overview of all your installations you've done as an installer. See if there's any fault information. End users can use the portal as well to manage their installation. Anyone can log into this and view their charger, but it's more geared towards installers who are kind of setting up multi-charger installations.
And then just on that as well, let's say you guys done a charger, an install with 5 or 10 chargers, and the landlord goes, something's wrong, some of the chargers aren't working. You can dial in, and where it's green will become up orange, or like it's like red. Then you can go and run a diagnostic and go, what's wrong with the charger? So before you even get out there, you can understand this is what's wrong, and I need to take X, Y, and Z. Or just if there's someone tech savvy, you can go do this and that, and they're able to fix it as well.
Yeah. So any charger we have, like this, when you look at them in the portal, this little colour on the front represents the light on the front of the charger. So a green one on a Pro is good. If it goes red, you just hover over it and it tells you what error code has come up. So first thing, if an end user does call and be like, my charger's not working, that's the first thing you can do. But it will also tell them in the app as well what the error code is. So common one, like with the Go, might be pen fault. You'll get a red alert on there if it's detected an over voltage, for example, and then it will go green again once the voltage goes back down. That's probably a more common sort of consumer one. We've also got our app, and this is more geared towards end users.
Just on the app as well, we mentioned earlier on about it. You can toggle into it can be a tethered charger. We like to say it's untethered because if your missus anything like mine, she'll drive over the wire and damage the wire, and you've got to replace the whole charger. Whereas with ours, we can just unplug the charger, go and buy a new one, and then happy days, rather than replacing the whole unit, right? Just so, again, some people say, I only want a tethered charger. Ours it comes untethered, but it can be tethered as well. Sweet.
I'll let you talk about
that. Sweet, okay. Zaptec Academy. Yeah, that's the link. It takes about 45 minutes to go through to an hour. I would highly recommend you to go through it in your own time. It's like a tick box exercise, but there's a bit of a knowledge review at the end. Like I said, I did it and it took me about an hour and 20 minutes. So you guys will fly through it in an hour and 10 or 45 minutes. What is also really cool is that once you become an approved installer, we can see that as well. And we get leads up and down the country, from Devon to, Scotland. And we can go onto our database and say, we need an installer in the East Sussex region. Cool. And then we can then give you guys a call and say, are you guys busy? Do you want a domestic install? Yes, no, maybe. And then cool, we can give it out to you guys as well. So again, it's a two-way street of us helping you guys out with leads as well. But also what's really cool with that is that you've always got that there, so you can always refer back to it at a later date if you're thinking, what was that I forgot about? Sorry, I shouldn't swear. But yeah, if you've got any information, you can always go back onto it, quickly go through the academy and just refresh yourself as well. Yeah. But that's not saying don't call us, or you're more welcome to call Jem or myself.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, please do the academy sometime after today's session. I'll send everyone an email with a link to it, as long as you put your email in at the beginning, and then you can just reply once you've done it, and then I'll get the certificates all updated so they've got the timings on. Right, I'm going to do a quick demo. Right, so this is how the app looks if your charger is offline, and this is it once you're logged in. So to add a new installation, we can either go down to installations here and then add new, or 3 dots up here and install a product, which I'll do now. What are we installing? I'm going to install that Go 2 there. So we just select Zaptec Go. It will ask me to scan the QR code, which I can't do. So
which is there.
It's on there, yep, and on the screen as well. I can't scan a QR code, but I can just select from a list, and it's going to search via Bluetooth. That's the wrong one. There it is. Ready to install.
Do you want me to move it closer to you?
Maybe. Just going to hold it up like this.
Try again.
Was risky doing this in front of everyone.
Oh, this is real life. This is
Yeah.
Because you guys have all come down and participated and been brilliant. Zaptec cups. You do get a free charger, you're right. There you go. So install it wherever you want to install it, at home, customers, whatever you want. There you go. There you go. Once you've And you will see that normally it is straightforward to connect up to it all.
We're getting there. Okay, I'm at the next screen.
Oh, there you go.
I thought you were joking. That's what she meant.
All right, so you know what to do when you install it. I'm going to connect this one. The Go-To works really well on 4G. I don't know what the 4G signal's like in here, but we'll give it a go. There we go. Now, because it's a Go-To, it can be 3-phase or single-phase, so we just have to tell it how we've wired it. Don't choose IT grid. It's TN. I feel like IT is using like one part of Norway, and that's about it. TN 1 phase. Next. What circuit breaker have you put in? I'm going to put a 40. Do you know, I should probably do this properly.
Probably trip the circuit.
I mean, I'm not plugging anything into it, obviously. But, yeah, the risk-averse side of me is like, maybe not. I'll say it can go up to 13 amps, but we can set these. I'll do 10 amps just to, be safe. Next. That's it in terms of the initial configuration. So we've got a charger. It will charge. It will work. At this point, if you've got a customer in front of you, you're probably going to want to activate it to hand it over to the customer. If, for example, you're installing on a new build property, nobody lives there yet, you can just hit activate later, and then when the new owner moves in, they can do it themselves in the app. The key point is the electrical part has to be done by you.
So when's the warranty start on that? As soon as you hit active.
It's on. The warranty is from the purchase date.
Yeah.
So if you're on a new build, you're not fitting them straight away. You've got them in. You could lose 6 months, 7 months.
3 years.
That's where we work with you to say, make sure that we give it out at the right time.
Yeah. That'd be a conversation between us all.
It can always be a conversation.
Stuart will be fine.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, if it's kind of, I don't know, a few weeks over 5 years and it's on a new build, then no one's going to say anything. I'll be the one making that call usually. So.
And you're on camera now as well.
On camera.
We'll send you a copy of this video.
To the boss. Yeah. We've all
Just
got
that part, though.
Yeah. We don't care. 10 years. Have 10 years. All right. I'm going to activate it anyway. So there'll be a few extra steps here to activate it. And this is where you need to have the customer in front of you because it's going to ask some information which they will need to know. Oh no. I'm having some Bluetooth trouble here today. Right, let's go to the portal. So,
Should we call customer support?
Yeah.
He's out today.
Yeah.
Hello?
The phones are just ringing. So the Pro has to be installed in the portal because you might have multiple chargers. The circuits need to be properly put together. So this is what our portal looks like when you log in. When you've done our Academy training and you've been certified, you will get installer access to our portal. So to install Zaptec Pro, you have to have done the training and become certified. You can install Go in the app without having done the training, but we recommend doing it anyway. So we go to the portal, we go to installations at the top, and then we add an installation, and we give it a name. Phase. We tell it what kind of installation we're putting in. It's a Pro. We are going to, these things are just for kind of organising it on the portal, but we'll say it's a business, and we'll put in address. don't know if you have to put in all this or not. Okay, country is important for time zone stuff. So I'll do this as a 3-phase install, and the charging system circuit breaker. So this is your capacity that you've got available to all chargers on the installation across all the different circuits. So if you're putting in 3 different circuits, all 63 amps, this is the capacity of your kind of upstream breaker. So if we've got, let's say, 200 amps available to my installation, okay, this is my installation now. So this is how it looks, and there's all these various tabs along here, some more settings which we'll get into. The first thing you want to do to add a charger is you need to add your first circuit. So we go to add circuit, we give it a name, circuit 1.
Very original.
Yeah. Very original. We give it a breaker size, so we'll say 63. And there's my first circuit, 63 amps, ready to put a charger on. Now you can add all your circuits if you want before you put the chargers on. Circuit 2.
And just to say as well, this can all be done before you're even on site.
Yeah.
This doesn't have to be while you're there right next to the chargers. This can be done.
Our
Back
recommendation
office, get your
is
receptionist to do it.
do that. Do it before you get on site,
Yeah.
or get someone to do it before you get on site. Because if you've done this before you get on site, the moment you plug the charger in and they connect, they work.
It's good to go.
There's no commissioning really to be done on site apart from to get them connected to the internet. So yeah, that's the beauty of it. I'm going to add this charger here, which is a Pro, and then we can choose whether to activate it or not. Okay, if we don't activate it, I'll leave it. We can see here that it's a charger that I've added, but it's not yet activated. And you see the light on the front has gone off? That's because I've deactivated it. So that charger will no longer supply current. So can be quite useful if you've got chargers in an installation you want to deactivate for whatever reason. And then I activate it by going in here, going down to activate. That must be on 4G because I haven't connected it to Wi-Fi. And there's my charger. Yeah, it's on 4G with somehow no signal. They will connect with like virtually no signal. They don't use a lot of data, but that's not going to be a reliable signal. And that's it. And now I haven't got more chargers to add, unfortunately, but now I would just add additional chargers onto that circuit. So obviously I've created a 63 amp circuit. If I go into this charger, it can only provide up to 32 amps because it's an AC charger. But this is configurable. I can tell it, actually, I only want this charger to be 20 amps, or I only want this charger to be a single phase charger. And this gives you the ability, it gives kind of owners the ability on an installation they could have all their chargers set up for single phase charging, and then they could have 2 chargers that they charge people more to use that are set up for 3-phase charging. So it kind of gives them some possibilities to sort of use the power how they want. And then on the power management here, we can see that we've got a 200 amp available capacity. So it doesn't matter how many of these 63 amp circuits I add, it's always going to be governed by that 200 amp global capacity I've got there. And when we install a Zaptec Sense, which I don't have one to install here, but they're installed via the app, or you can actually add them in the portal here as well. We set it to automatic charging, and then we tell it what the main fuse size is. Okay, so that's obviously your main incomer, and then that's how it will load balance the installation. And then down here you'll see when the sense is in use, what current it's making available in each phase. And you can set a minimum available current there as well, which basically means it won't charge unless it can reach that current. There's quite a lot you can go into in the portal, so I probably won't go too deep, but there's a lot of stuff you can kind of click through here and see. I'm just thinking, what's a good installation?
Hinna in Norway, Hinna, is it that one? That's got
One of these ones.
yeah, they've got Bry community housing one, the 17th, that one there.
That one.
Yeah. That's got 52 chargers on one site, and they've got 63 guys at the top of it. They've got 63.
So
Yeah?
you've got
52 chargers, yeah.
162 amp circuit, they've made it, with a lot of chargers on that circuit. I think people often have in their mind, they go, oh, 63 amp circuit, therefore I should only put 2 chargers on it. When in actual fact, public charging, you'll find that most of those chargers are empty a lot of the time, or even if they've got cars plugged into them, they're like this first one here where they've finished charging. See this one in the dark green? We've got one charging there, which has actually been allocated 21 kilowatts, so full 3-phase capacity. So in actual fact, it does depend obviously on the usage and what performance people want, but we tend to recommend more chargers on a circuit rather than less for most kind of public charging situations, because people just generally want to top up. They don't need maximum speed all the time, but also most cars can't achieve 22 kilowatts 3-phase, so that's not really the benchmark to be using. And I'll show you the demo as well. Sorry?
But like that one's capped at 11 anyway.
Yeah, most cars cap at 11,
Yeah.
like this one. And you can see the phase usage up here as well. So it's about 15 amps on each phase. So this is the one you can go to yourself. Just Google Zaptec demo like I did, and you'll find it. And you can play around with the parameters here. So I'll give myself a 200 amp install. I'm going to install, actually no, let's bring that down. 100 amp. And then I've got 3 63 amp circuits. All these chargers here are set up for 3-phase. That's what the little 3P there means. And they're all got a maximum current of 32, but we can obviously configure that. So you'll start to see when I plug cars in, how the phase usage on the left changes. Always balanced. And you'll start to see how the more cars I plug in, those cars that plugged in recently are only getting single phase charging. And it tells you here, this one's charging on L3, this one here is charging on L2, this one on L1. And then as those cars that have been plugged in the longest finish, you'll see those cars at the end getting more power and switching to 3-phase as well. But like I said before, if you wanted, you could just have all of them on single phase, which means your available power goes a lot further, but you still get the balanced phases, which is, yeah, it's the main benefit. So this can be really useful if you're talking to customers around like how many chargers to put on an installation. They might think they need 2 chargers on the 63 amp circuit. In actual fact, they probably don't. Any questions on that at all? No? Cool. Do I risk going back to the other demo?
No, they can try that out now because they've got their own chargers.
Yeah. Try it yourself.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Stuart's picked it up. There you go. Here's one we did earlier.
He's picked it up.
That's why you were struggling.
yeah, exactly. He's in there going, suckers.
What's the pin on it?
What's the pin?
Niggering.
That genuinely will happen. If one person connects, I won't be able to. Yeah.
Have you got the PIN number for it?
Oh, for that one. Which one are you connected to? The go-to.
Yeah, the go-to.
How are you connected from over there? And I could.
He got in there first.
Yeah.
Sabotage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on.
He's on?
You're on.
There you go.
Cool.
I'll come off it though, so you can
Let's give it a go. It must be. It's either my phone or it's maybe it's my phone.
So that's what we wanted to show, that you can be that far away from it and still work. So thank you very much. That was perfectly well demonstrated. Yeah.
We've gone through the first part worked. We went through the electrical configuration. The second part, all you're doing is adding in the name of the installation, just like we did with the Pro, the address of the installation, and then it will give you, as long as you're registered as an installer, it will ask you for the customer's email address, at which point you put it in and then they get an invite to create an account for themselves. If you're not registered as an installer, it will assume you're the owner of the charger, and it will make it your charger. So do register as an installer if you can.
Doesn't take long.
Yeah.
Is that all? Like I said, that's through the Zaptec Academy. It's all free in charge in your own time. Just when you're watching the football tonight, just go through it, tick, 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 have a read through, and then become an approved installer.
And it won't charge between 8 and 11 and between 4 and 10 on weekdays, yeah?
So yeah, that's the default UK smart charging regs. You can turn that off, obviously, but yeah, it's really annoying. But yeah, we have to do it to meet the regs. So we've commissioned a Pro. We have a help centre. You can bookmark it if you scan the QR code. It's just help.zaptec.com. You can contact us through the help centre. We've also got how-to articles, how to install stuff, how to use stuff. Some really good articles on vehicle to grid as well, if you ever get asked about it. Or you can give us a call. We're on the phone as well. Just briefly in terms of how our support works. So we support partners, wholesalers and installers. You can reach us through the help centre or by phone. If you do have a warranty claim, we ask that you contact us first rather than go to the wholesaler, just because we need to do a bit of diagnostics on it and we need to find out what the problem is. Most problems come down to something to do with commissioning or installation that we can either resolve remotely or kind of talk you through. Obviously, if there's a genuine fault, we will approve a warranty claim, in which case you can then return the charger and get a replacement. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. Great.
All we ask that when you are doing your new installs with your Zaptec chargers, whether it's your home, customers, whatever, if you are on LinkedIn, tag us in there. I'm going to try and run a prize that if you all do an install, we'll put you into like a raffle, and then whoever wins at the raffle will get something paid. Another charge them. No. I'm trying to get like a dinner out with you and your partners or whatever else, something like that as well. So there's another sort of incentive as well there for you guys to post it, tag us on LinkedIn as well. So that'd be really helpful.
Yep. And just to finish off, just some of the accessories that we offer. This should be you talking about this.
Yeah. Accessories, front covers. Again, your customers, right? They always want to be make sure the charger looks good in the house. So they might want to go for blue because it matches the windows or the car, whatever. So yeah, blue windows. Yeah. I've seen them. Yeah, it is quite a nice blue. Or to support your favourite football team. So they're quite cool. The charger cables, they're 1 and 3 phase. Which is really cool. 5 meters, 7.5 meters. Other cables are able to be purchased. Cable holders, which are really cool. I only found this out a couple of weeks ago. They're actually used they're made from recycled Zaptec Pro front covers. So a bit of sustainability, which is always nice. And yeah, they can go either side of the charger just to rock up, or out of the boot from the customer's house or cars. More columns that we do, just standard. That's the backplate covers that we spoke about as well. And now the time for the test. Underneath your seat says a...
Get it wrong, it blows up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I you should now be able to pick the right product for the site, design within the available supply, use load management and phase balancing, install cleanly and keep IP54 sealing intact. That's basically just don't remove the innards of the charger. Commission and configure limits and connectivity in the app and portal. We've done that. And then diagnose common faults and know where to get support. So in general, with the common faults, it is just a case of the easiest place to check is in the portal. Look for the installation. And if there is a fault that the charger has flagged, it will be really obvious. Or it will tell you the charger's offline, which might be the fault. So yeah, it should be quite self-explanatory. And then any questions, the help centre or your Zaptec contact.
Which you're now getting my business card and email addresses.
I've got to set up tap electric.
Yeah.
So who sets that up?
I'll put you in touch with Tap, yeah.
I've still got the portal open here. I can show you where it's done.
What's that? What's Tap
Tap Electric are another system that we use that they can use for billable charging to to landlords and things. And what's really cool about Tap Electric is that you guys can manage your devices, and then you can get like a reoccurring revenue from the device as installers as well. It's not a massive amount, but it's money for old rope. Like you're not doing anything else, so you can use it as like a maintenance and a service packaging sort of agreement. You put it together, and you can get £200 a month just for.
It's all done
charger.
under settings on the installation. You can do it in the app as well, but I think the portal's the better place to do it. Under authentication, you just choose what type of authentication you're using. So if you're using Tap Electric, it's going to be this third one, this OCPP Cloud. And then when you create the Tap Electric account, they will just give you a URL to put in this box. And once that URL has been put in, that's it. Then it's onboarded onto their platform. And it'd be the same with any back office platform.
Bit of reading later on if you can't fall asleep later on tonight.
Is that portal for every charger?
Yeah. Every charger that's been set up in our cloud will be live on the portal. You can see it there. It doesn't matter, Go To, Pro, whatever it is. The key difference is that the Go and Go To you set up using the app, right? Whereas the Pro has to be set up in the portal.
How are they registering anything with the CTs at the moment? Did you have to pair the...
There's no load balancing on these at all at the moment.
Got ya.
On these demo ones. But when you set it up, so you've got... you saw the bundles, so you have your Sense, which has got the wired CT clamps on the incomer. The Sense is then connected to Wi-Fi or via Ethernet, and it talks to the cloud. So when you add a Sense under power management,
right? So you just add it in.
You add it down here, or you add it in the app is probably the easiest place. If you're already setting up a charger in the app, you just add the Sense in there as well.
Does that include when you're using it for the commercial stuff as well? Use app, or go back to this again when you're going
for the Sense? Use the app because, well, if you're using Ethernet, you don't need to use the app. The only thing really the app is kind of used for is the connectivity, getting it onto the internet in the first place. So you put in the serial number from the Sense, you put in your main fuse capacity, and then it's linked. So that Sense now is talking to this installation. And managing it, and it's just communicating via the cloud. So there's no the Sense doesn't have to be next to the charger; it can be anywhere else. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Cool.
I know it's hard when you learn in a room rather than being out actually on a site. That's why I said when you are doing your first install, just ask us any questions. There's no dumb question. Just we'll handhold you right through, and then once you're more confident, you'll be off running. Then we're going cool, straightforward.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I think everyone's registered with their email. So I will follow up with an email and a link to the academy in case you haven't got that.
Come on in, Kenny.
Happy?
Yeah.
Perfect. Right, so Lee, still here from Lutron. Obviously, Jem and Adam are, so they're going to be here for 10 minutes, sort of packing away that. So if you have got any questions, by all means ask away. We keep all these products, our distribution centre as well. so turnaround still be quick as well. I think you've all said, I'm sure you have as well. If you've got any questions, by all means fire them our way to your local sales managers or your local branch, or just make direct contact. Either way, we'll kind of get filled back via us at the key.
Great.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate you being engaging. Thank you. Enjoy installing them.